What if I told you a fitness instructor arrived at church before dawn to prepare for her morning class, and just 30 minutes later, her students found her dead?
It's one of those cases that starts with a scenario you can barely wrap your head around. And that's the devastating reality of what happened to Taria Missy Bevers.
Welcome to Whispers of Crime.
The story we're exploring today is built from police reports, search warrants, forensic analyses, and it paints a picture of one of the most meticulously planned and yet hauntingly unsolved murders in recent history.
Before we go any further, please subscribe to Whispers of Crime on YouTube. And you can follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and pretty much anywhere you get your podcasts.
Now, this case, it's just chilling on every level. Surveillance footage from inside that church captured an image that has become, well, almost infamous in true crime circles.
A figure walking through the empty hallways.
A figure in full tactical gear, head-to-toe black armor, walking around with a hammer, breaking glass, and waiting.
Waiting for Missy Bevers.
Taria Missy Bevers was 45. She was a mother of 3 and a really beloved Camp Gladiator instructor. On April 18, 2016, she walked into the Creekside Church of Christ in Midlothian, Texas at 4:18 a.m.
And by 5 a.m., she was gone. Her students found her, dead from multiple puncture wounds to her head and chest.
This case isn't just unsolved, it's haunting, because somewhere out there, the person in that video is just living a normal life.
And nearly 9 years later, investigators still don't know the most basic thing.
They still don't know if that person is male or female.
It's just a dedicated mother, a community leader, killed inside a church of all places. The sheer brazenness of it is what I can't get past.
It's the location that adds that extra layer of horror. And her background makes it even more shocking. She wasn't involved in some dangerous lifestyle. She was a former special ed teacher in Red Oak. She was passionate about fitness.
And her routine, her job, it made her vulnerable, didn't it, these pre-dawn classes?
It absolutely did. And that vulnerability was exploited with what seems like almost military precision.
Let's talk about that. The planning. Because this wasn't random. Not even close.
Not at all. To really get the level of premeditation here, you have to look at a key detail from the night before.
The weather.
The weather. There was a storm forecast for that Monday morning. Missy's classes were normally held outside in the church parking lot.
So because of the rain, she had to move it.
Exactly. She sent out a message to her class, a last-minute change, saying they'd be meeting inside the Creekside Church instead.
Which means the killer knew. They knew about this very late change of plans.
They either knew or they were monitoring her communications so closely that they could adapt their plan on the fly. It really points away from a stranger and towards someone with a personal connection.
Someone in her circle.
It strongly suggests that. And we have solid evidence that the killer was scouting the area hours, literally hours, before Missy ever showed up.
Okay, what's the evidence for that?
Sources detail a vehicle sighting at about 2 a.m., a full 2 hours before the murder.
2 in the morning.
2 in the morning. This car was seen in the parking lot of SWFA Outdoors, which is a sporting goods store right next to the church.
So they were casing the joint.
It looks that way.
Yeah.
And the behavior was odd. The car was a 2010 to 2012 Nissan Altima sedan, silver or light colored. It had an oval bumper sticker.
And what was it doing?
Just circling the lot. It flashed its headlights bizarrely, parked in a secluded spot for a few minutes, and then just drove off.
Flashing its lights.
Yeah.
What would be the purpose of that? Testing sight lines? Seeing if anyone was around?
It could be any of those things. It could be someone who's nervous, running final checks, or it could be someone confirming things, like, testing the environment, checking for patrol cars, seeing how dark it really was.
It's just so deliberate. It's not an impulsive crime.
No. And the killer must have learned something very important during that 2 a.m. scouting trip. Something about the church's security, or lack thereof.
What do you mean?
Well, investigators confirmed something stunning. The outside surveillance cameras at the church, they weren't working that day.
You're kidding me.
Not at all. And even more critical, the building had no alarm system.
So it was a soft target. And the killer knew it.
Knew it or confirmed it at 2 a.m. If you know there are no external cameras and no alarm, you can operate with a lot more confidence. You're not worried about being seen approaching or tripping a silent alarm.
It gives you time.
It gives you a 30-minute window, which is exactly what the killer used.
Okay, so let's go inside the church. The killer gets in by forcing a side door, and they're inside from about 3:50 a.m. until Missy arrives at 4:18. That's a long time.
A very long time. And this is where the central contradiction of the case really comes into play. For those 30 minutes, this figure, estimated to be between 5'2" and 5'8", just wanders the hallways.
Yes, wanders.
Wanders and methodically breaks things, using the hammer and pry bar they were carrying to smash glass and doors to force other doors open.
But why? If you're there to kill someone, why make all that noise? Why risk drawing attention? It just seems counterintuitive. An assassin would wait silently, wouldn't they?
You'd think so, and that's the point. This wasn't just about the murder. It was about creating a false narrative.
A staged burglary.
With perfectly staged burglary. The killer wasn't wasting time. They were manufacturing a motive. They wanted the police to walk in and immediately think, okay, Missy Bevers walked in on a robbery in progress and was killed.
It's an incredible level of cold, calculated thinking to stage the scene before the murder even happens.
Chilling control. And we know the moment she realized something was wrong. Missy enters at 4:18 a.m., carrying her equipment, and there's a detail from some unreleased footage that a forensic podiatrist, a Dr. Michael Nirenberg, saw.
What did he see?
He described seeing Missy turn her head as if she heard something just off camera.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. That's the moment she knew she wasn't alone.
It very likely was. And the attack was swift. By 5:05 a.m., when her first students get there, it's all over. Missy's body is discovered. It's a window of less than an hour for everything to happen.
And the killer's success in getting away with it, it all comes down to that disguise, doesn't it?
It is the absolute centerpiece of this entire crime. Without that disguise, this case is likely solved within days.
So let's break it down. What exactly were they wearing?
It was a full SWAT-style getup. A black helmet, a balaclava covering the face, dark clothing, gloves, and this is the most critical part. A heavy black vest.
With lettering on it.
With the word police in big white letters on the front and back.
Now that isn't just for anonymity. That's an active misdirection. It's brilliant in a terrifying way.
It's a masterful red herring. It does two things at once. One, it completely hides the person's identity. You can't see their face, hair, skin color, anything. But two, it immediately points the investigation in a very specific direction.
Towards law enforcement or military or security personnel, someone who would have access to that kind of gear.
Exactly. It forces police to spend precious time looking at people in those fields, maybe diverting them, even for a short while, from looking at Missy's personal life, where the real motive probably was.
And the police released the video, hoping someone would recognize something. The way the person walked, their gait.
Yes, the gait. That was the one potential clue they had. The initial reports described it as very unusual. The person walked slowly, sometimes steadied themselves on a wall.
And they had that distinctive out-toed walk.
A very pronounced out-toed gait, especially on the right foot. It almost looked like a limp, or like they were compensating for some kind of injury or condition. Warrants even mentioned a possible feminine sway.
That seems like something that would be so recognizable. If you knew this person, you'd see that walk and think, I know that walk.
You would think so, but the gear, the sheer bulk of it, it changes everything.
It has to distort your natural movement, doesn't it?
Completely. And this is where the investigation hit a major wall. The FBI brought in that forensic podiatrist, Dr. Nirenberg, to analyze the video.
And what did he find? How do you even analyze something like that?
He did it scientifically. He actually had people put on similar tactical gear, the heavy vests, the helmets, the rigid boots, and he studied how it changed the way they walked.
And the conclusion?
His conclusion was a game changer for the investigation. He confirmed that the gear profoundly affects a person's gait. A heavy vest shifts your center of gravity. The rigid boots stop your ankle from flexing naturally.
So the walk we see in the video, it might not be their real walk at all.
It could be entirely an artifact of the clothing. Dr. Nirenberg stated it very clearly. He said, quote, "You can't make a determination if it's a male or female because of variation in gait."
Wow, so the one unique clue is basically useless.
It's compromised. He even noted that the out-toed pattern itself isn't all that uncommon in the general population. So the killer, whether they planned it this way or just got lucky, created a double layer of forensic protection.
The mask hides their face, and the armor hides their body, their movement.
It's a perfect storm of ambiguity. The height estimate, 5'2" to 5'8", is so broad it could be a shorter man or a taller woman. The one physical clue, the gait, is unreliable. It's an investigator's nightmare.
Okay, let's turn to the crime scene itself. Because the way that was left behind, it has its own set of puzzles.
It does. After the attack, Missy was found by her students just after 5:40 a.m. Police arrived to a scene that was, well, it was clearly designed to look like one thing, but was actually another.
The official cause of death was multiple puncture wounds to the head and chest, and police said the injuries were consistent with the tools the suspect was carrying.
The hammer and the pry bar, yes. That was the initial public statement from Midlothian PD.
But the scene just didn't add up as a burglary.
Not at all. Nothing was stolen, nothing from the church, nothing from Missy. Her purse, her iPad, her wallet, her wedding ring, all left behind.
And she had a gun in her truck, right, for protection.
She did. A personal firearm also left completely untouched. A real burglar, even one who panicked, would have likely grabbed something of value.
So robbery was never the motive. It was just theater.
It was a mask for the real reason. Investigators figured it out very quickly. This wasn't a robbery gone wrong. This was a targeted, premeditated killing.
This is what I keep coming back to. If it's a targeted hit, an act of personal rage, why the elaborate staging? Why the 30 minutes of breaking glass? Doesn't that just increase the risk of getting caught?
It's the central question of the case. The best theory is that it was a contingency plan. The killer needed a built-in alibi for the motive itself. If police started looking at, say, a jealous lover or a disgruntled business partner, that person could say, why would I stage a clumsy burglary? It makes no sense. It's misdirection on a psychological level.
It's a way to deflect from the personal nature of the crime.
Exactly. This person prioritized that misdirection over speed and efficiency, which suggests they were desperate for the police to look anywhere but inside Missy's personal life.
And this whole need for misdirection gets even weirder when you look at the controversy over how she was actually killed.
Right. This is one of the most confusing and honestly frustrating parts of the public record. Midlothian police consistently said blunt force trauma, puncture wounds, consistent with a hammer.
But that's not the only story out there.
No. Other official sources, specifically the FBI's Uniform Crime Reporting data, the UCR data for Midlothian in 2016, they classify Missy's homicide as a death by gunshot wound.
A gunshot? That's completely different. A hammer is brutal, personal. A gun is, well, it can be more detached. It implies a different kind of planning, a different weapon to hide.
It changes the entire profile of the attack, and it begs the question, why would police withhold or misrepresent something so fundamental?
There have to be a strategic reason.
There are usually two. First, what's called holdback information. Investigators will keep a key fact secret, like the type of weapon or the specific caliber of a bullet.
So they can test confessions.
Precisely. If someone comes forward and confesses, they'll ask them, okay, what was the weapon? Only the real killer would know it was, say, a 9mm handgun and not a hammer.
That makes sense. What's the other reason?
It steers the investigation. A hammer fits the clumsy burglar narrative the killer was trying to create. A firearm, on the other hand, fits the tactical police vest disguise much better. It points to a higher level of training and premeditation. Maybe they wanted to downplay that aspect publicly at first.
And there's some evidence that a firearm was at least considered a possibility, right?
A strong possibility. Sources confirm that the ATF was involved. They reportedly brought in dogs trained to detect gunpowder residue and shell casings. You don't bring in the ATF for a hammer attack.
So we have a staged scene, a perfect disguise, and a hidden cause of death. It's just layer upon layer of deception.
It is, which is why investigators had to cut through all of that and go straight to the one place the motive was likely to be found, her personal life.
Which it turns out was complicated.
It was. Search warrants revealed that Missy's marriage to her husband, Brandon, was under a lot of strain. There were financial issues, and there were also allegations of extramarital affairs on Missy's part.
And her digital life, her phone and iPad, they opened up a whole new line of inquiry.
They really did. The warrants showed she'd been exchanging what were described as intimate and flirtatious messages on LinkedIn with an unknown man.
LinkedIn. That's a strange choice.
It is. It suggests maybe a professional acquaintance or someone trying to get close to her under that guise. But there was one message that was especially alarming.
The creepy message.
Right. Just days before she was killed, Missy showed a friend a message she'd received on LinkedIn. She called it creepy and strange. The police have never released the content of that message, which tells you it's likely very important.
It sounds like she had a stalker.
It certainly points to someone being unnervingly focused on her. And with all the marital issues, her husband, Brandon Bevers, was obviously looked at very closely.
He was a person of interest from the start.
He was, but he had a perfect alibi, an airtight alibi.
He was out of state.
Out of state. He was on his annual fishing trip in Biloxi, Mississippi. Police confirmed it with flight records, surveillance video from the airport. He was hundreds of miles away when Missy was killed.
So if he wasn't the person in the suit.
If he was involved at all, the perfect alibi points directly to a murder-for-hire scenario, a proxy killer, which, again, fits with the calculated, professional nature of the crime.
But the police have cleared him, haven't they?
They have. Midlothian police have publicly stated that Brandon is no longer considered a suspect.
The family investigation didn't stop with him, though. His father became a focus for a little while because of something very strange.
Yes, his father, Randy Bevers. A search warrant revealed that 4 days after the murder, he dropped off a woman's shirt at a dry cleaner. A shirt that appeared to have bloodstains on it.
I mean, come on, that is unbelievably suspicious. A bloody shirt days after your daughter-in-law is brutally murdered.
On the surface, it looks terrible, but Randy had an explanation right away.
Okay, what was it?
He said the blood wasn't human. He told police that his family's dog, Kilo, had been in a fight with another dog and was mortally wounded. He said the blood got on his wife's shirt when they were rushing the poor animal to the vet.
A tragic story, but one that's easy enough to check.
Very easy. Forensics tested the shirt, and the lab report came back conclusively. It was animal blood. Dog blood.
So he was cleared.
Completely. And police have publicly cleared Randy as well. So with the immediate family ruled out by alibis and forensics, the investigation had to get more creative.
They had to go back to the digital world. Try to find the killer's electronic ghost since they couldn't see the physical one.
That's a great way to put it. They brought in experts from the NYPD who are specialists in cell phone data analysis.
What were they looking for?
They were analyzing cell tower pings. The idea is that even a very careful killer might make one simple mistake, carrying their personal cell phone with them to the crime scene.
So they're looking for a phone that pinged the cell tower near the church between, say, 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. that it has no business being there.
Exactly. They got warrants for the phone records of everyone in the Bevers circle, and they cross-referenced all that data looking for an anomaly. It's like looking for a needle in a digital haystack.
And did they find one?
So far, nothing definitive has been released, but it shows how hard they're working to get around that physical disguise.
Now here we are, approaching 9 years later, and the police are insistent that this is not a cold case.
They're very clear on that point. This is an active, ongoing investigation. They're still allocating resources, still following up on leads. They've gotten over 3,000 tips from all over the world.
I remember hearing they brought in some fresh eyes recently.
They did. They added a retired federal agent and a veteran homicide detective from a large metro agency to the team, specifically to review everything from the beginning to see if anything was missed.
And they even went back to the physical scene with a new goal in mind.
Yes, the Tarrant County Digital Forensics team. They went back to the church, but not to look for DNA. They went with a tape measure.
A tape measure? Why?
To do what's called dimensional analysis. They meticulously measured the door frames, the height of the walls, things that are visible in the surveillance video.
Ah, to create a reliable scale.
Yeah.
So they can get a more accurate height estimate of the suspect from the video.
Exactly. It's about maximizing the value of the only piece of visual evidence they have. It's what helped them confirm that 5'2" to 5'8" height range. Even with the helmet on, the person is no taller than 5'8".
Which still leaves the gender completely up in the air.
Still a total mystery. And because that mystery has been so hard to solve with conventional methods, they've turned to something very modern.
Artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence. Midlothian police have confirmed they were using AI to re-examine the case evidence.
How can AI help here? What can it see that a human expert can't?
Well, specifically with the gait analysis. Where the human eye, even a trained one like Dr. Nierenberg's, is fooled by the heavy gear, a machine learning algorithm might not be. AI is all about pattern recognition. It can analyze micro movements we can't see, tiny things like the rhythm of an arm swing or the slight vertical bounce of the head as someone walks. It looks for a unique biomechanical signature that persists even when the person is wearing heavy armor.
So the hope is that the AI can find that signature in the church video.
And then scan other video databases, traffic cams, security footage from stores, anything to find a match of that same person walking naturally without the disguise.
That is incredible, a high-tech solution to a low-tech disguise. But it hasn't worked yet.
Not yet, and that just tells you how successful the killer's planning was. They achieved near-perfect forensic counterintelligence.
They thought of everything. The time of day, the lack of security, the staged motive, the anonymous disguise.
And the armor that just happened to defeat the only real biometric clue they left behind. The only loose threads that remain are that Nissan Altima and the slim chance of a cell phone ping.
That car.
Yeah.
The 2010 to 2012 Nissan Altima with the oval bumper sticker, seen at 2 a.m., that feels like the best tangible lead they have.
It's the one concrete link to the planning phase of the crime. Finding the owner of that car is still a huge priority because that person might be the killer or they might know who the killer is.
And the community has not given up. There's a massive reward out there.
A huge reward. It's currently at $150,000 for information that leads to an arrest and conviction. It shows just how determined everyone is to find answers for Missy and her family.
When you step back and look at it all, you have to remember the person at the center of this. Missy Bevers. A mother, a wife, a friend, a fitness coach. Murdered at her job, in a church, by a ghost.
And that ghost just vanished. The person who executed this crime with such precision is still out there, living their life. It's the intersection of what feels like a deeply personal, rage-fueled murder with the cold, detached execution of a paramilitary operation.
It's a textbook case in how to get away with murder, isn't it? The layers of deception are staggering.
They are. Every clue they left behind was intentionally corrupted.
Before we close, I want to leave you with one final thought. The forensic podiatrist, Dr. Nierenberg, he saw something on that unreleased footage that has always stuck with me.
The moment she turned her head.
The moment she turned her head. Likely hearing the killer approach just seconds before the attack. The image of the killer remains a total mystery to us. We don't know who they are, but we know the sound of their approach. That was the very last thing Missy Bevers ever heard.
Don't forget to subscribe to Whispers of Crime on YouTube. You can also follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and all major podcast platforms. Please like, share, and comment on this episode. It really helps.
And please drop us a positive review and rating if you feel we've earned it.
And remember, this case is very much active. If you or anyone you know has any information about the murder of Missy Bevers, no matter how insignificant you think it might be, please reach out. You can contact the Midlothian Police Department Criminal Investigation Division. That number is 972-775-7634.
Or, if you want to remain anonymous, you can call Ellis County Crime Stoppers at 972-937-PRS. That's 7297. Every single tip matters. Someone out there knows something.